It's been a busy weekend on the Palouse. A bunch of new Cougs moving into town. We're on the campus of Washington State University as the Cougars welcome in the University of South Florida Bulls, the first ever meeting between these two sides from the lower soccer field in Pullman. Welcome into the booth, everybody. I'm Trevor Williams. Really glad to be with you tonight for this matchup between the Cougars and the Bulls. Two teams looking to rebound off of rough starts to their season back on Wednesday night. South Florida was up in Spokane taking on Gonzaga, and they had about as rough of a start as the Cougs did on their home field. Gonzaga went up early, the Bulldogs taking a 4-0 lead in the first 17 minutes of action. And Amelia Severn, one of the big stories on the opening night of college soccer, she scored 4 goals for Gonzaga in that first half. The Bulldogs winning in a runaway 5-1. WSU suffered some early game woes against their close-by rivals, the Idaho Vandals. In the Battle of the Palouse, Idaho went up 3-0 in the first 10 minutes against Washington State. Ended up going on to shut out the Cougars 3-0. To add a little salt to the wound for WSU, We're here in the early minutes, Washington State and the University of South Florida. We apologize for some of those technical difficulties on the audio side of things. Great job by our crew getting us linked back up here. Early minutes, we've seen both teams with a good opportunity. Washington State in front of the South Florida goal, and then the Bulls just a moment ago with Maya Heinsohn. A direct free kick, just sailing high. Both teams bringing a lot of energy here at the start. Delaney Hawkins making her first college start, earns a second corner kick for Washington State tonight. Chris Chitavitsky really liked what Delaney Hawkins provided back on Wednesday against Idaho, the freshman from Scottsdale, Arizona. And the Cougars on their first corner kick had a handball. This one sent in but off target on top of the goal for the goal kick for South Florida. Gabby Rourke is the goalkeeper for the Bulls. Rourke, a redshirt sophomore from Jacksonville, second year at South Florida. One of 10 returners on the roster. Had a rough game against Gonzaga. Suffered the 5 goals allowed. Did make 4 saves against the Bulldogs. Amelia Severn, the big story up in Spokane for Gonzaga with 4 first-half goals. That's kicked on by Amelia Malkin, who had the second-half tally for USF back on Wednesday night. But wide for Malkin. Malkin had 2 shots against Gonzaga a few days back. Both were on goal, and one of them, of course, converted for her first career goal. Senior out of Sarasota, Florida. Big news for the Cougars. Sydney Veneer is the goalkeeper, tending things in front of the Washington State net tonight. We were mentioning in the open, Ashlyn Dvorak in training caught a minor cracked rib. And so she'll be back soon for Washington State, but the Cougars didn't want to push it, putting her into action tonight. So she's a key player missing for Washington State. USF still without Yui Sutsuga, senior from Japan, who's a preseason American Conference watch list member. And a big missing piece for USF. We'll see if Sutsuga comes on later in the match tonight, but USF didn't sound confident that we would see her yet this early juncture of the season. A lot of energy for both of these two teams who fell into early holes in their season opener. Definitely trying to bring a little bit of heat to the start of this contest. Riley Carolan challenged by Amelia Malkin. And a nice job there along the far sideline by Ellie Pitts, forcing the Washington State throw in. There's Sydney Veneer, the starting goalkeeper for Washington State, after the injury to Ashlyn Dvorak. Second career start for Veneer. Last year was given a start after having to come on when the Cougars' second string backup got a red card. That was Zora Standifer a year ago for Washington State. So Veneer, her second emergency start in her college career so far. Sophomore from Ladner, British Columbia. Nicely played off the side of the foot by Lexi Lee. Preseason impact list in the Pac-12, trying to run that on to Meg Duvall. Taken away by USF. Maya Heinsohn, big play up ahead. This is for Delaney Telix, senior transfer from Florida. Telix trying to find a way around on the edge of the box around Ashlyn Sandow. And then the foul on Telix, pulling down Sandow, edge of the Washington State box. See the tug on the left side there for Telix. First foul of the season for Delaney Telix, who started her career at Memphis before ending up a Florida Gator and transferring in-state to USF. Aggressive start early and another whistle. This will stop the clock and get a talking to for Maddie Martin. Martin, one of 8 Washington State returning players on the roster for first-year head coach Chris Chitavitsky, who brought more than his fair share of Montana Grizzlies onto the Palouse. 10 who had played for him, 5 who were committed to play in Missoula. Chance for a cross for Maya Heinsohn. Locked down in that corner for a moment by Ashlyn Sandow. And the Cougars challenging both Heinsohn and Delaney Telix a lot down by that corner flag. And Jada Alexander is going to come have the throw in for USF. Look back at this last challenge from Washington State that elicited a talking to for Reagan Brizendine. The referee tonight has been busy already. Lorem Atisu, the referee in this one. And another nice defensive play early here for Ashlyn Sandow. Delaney Telix. Is it taken away by Maddie Martin, and a nice ball forward to Reagan Brizendine. Washington State definitely not passive on the on-ball defense so far to start it tonight. Brizendine trying to center that for Delaney Hawkins. Hawkins was playing off the flank a lot for Washington State against Idaho. And right now in the formation for the Cougars, right up at the point of attack for Washington State. It's a central forward for the Cougars. Cindy Veneer keeping the ball at her feet. High-level player out of Canada's development system. Won a league and national championship with the Vancouver Whitecaps Developmental Academy. And that's called against Lexi Lee. Lee ruled to have undercut Reese Roop. Another player down in the midfield. This will be a talking to for Maddie Martin. Maya Heinsohn, a little slow to get up. But back on her feet here late in the 11th minute for USF. Bulls looking to press forward. Up ahead for Amelia Malkin. Malkin, the goal scorer against Gonzaga back on Wednesday night. Her pass off target for Heinsohn, but picked up by Alexander. Telix trying to find Heinsohn. And in there for the Cougars, Lydia Robertson getting the start in the 11 for Washington State tonight. Robertson, a junior from Atlanta, came off the bench in 51 minutes for the Cougars in their season opener. And an offside flag up. Jada Alexander trapped behind the Washington State backline there. Well, for both sides defensively, a marked improvement in the first 12 minutes of play off their season openers. Basically, about this juncture a few days back, both teams were already in a 3-0 hole. Delaney Corcoran winning the ball in the midfield. Here's Delaney Hawkins. Hawkins trying to get to her left foot, takes a trip in the box, and it's called inside the box. Penalty kick coming. Delaney Hawkins earns the opportunity for Washington State in the 13th minute. Big development for the Cougars. Ellie Pitts called to have tripped up Delaney Hawkins here. Ball played in by Meg Duvall. Pitts catching a part of that right leg of Hawkins. Now this will be reviewed. So it's going to go under video review to see if this is a foul inside the box that should result in a penalty kick for Washington State. The Cougars were setting up Lexi Lee to take that opportunity. Delaney Hawkins We mentioned Coach Chris Chidovitsky for Washington State wanted to give her the start tonight because he really liked the energy she provided in that first matchup against Idaho on the season. And potentially here for WSU in the 13th minute, she's already earned the Cougars an opportunity to take an early lead. Question's going to be, is this playing the ball? Looks like it's off the right leg for Ellie Pitts. I know Pitts came off saying no, but I don't see any play of the ball for her here. Contact comes off. Well, there you saw that right leg try to get in there on the ball. That's going to be the question that Laura Matisu has to answer in this video review. And it's certainly a big consequence here in the opening minutes. Could give Washington State a penalty kick. See that poke of the right leg trying to get over across Delaney Hawkins. It's certainly getting a long look from Laura Matisu. We saw a video review. We were here on Wednesday for Washington State and Idaho on an offside call, and it was very quick. In this case, looking for the foul. And is it kind of that left trail leg that trips up the right leg of Delaney Hawkins? You see that left leg of Ellie Pitts. Looks like it gets tangled up with Delaney Hawkins, but that may be inadvertent there as well for Ellie Pitts. As they're going stride for stride here, their feet get tangled just inside the box. Still, it's under review. Gabby Rourke waiting to see if she'll face a penalty kick from Washington State. Laura Matisu is out, done with the video review. And Laura Matisu staying with that call. Penalty kick for Washington State. So the Cougars will have Lexi Lee taking the PK. Senior from Frisco, Texas. Preseason impact list, 3 career goals. The Oklahoma State transfer looking for her first tally in crimson and gray. Chance for a 13th minute strike to put Washington State in front. South Florida coaching staff still upset with the verdict that came out off the video review. Talking to the 4th official over across the way, and Laura Matisu's now turned to the USF bench and has said he's heard enough, and now it's continued to come out from Chris Brown, the head coach, and a yellow card has been shown to USF's Chris Brown, continuing to argue after the video review. There's Chris Brown. 6 years at VCU, 3rd year as the USF head coach, but has been an assistant coach there for a long time. Lexi Lee has the penalty kick for Washington State. The Cougars have their first goal of the season. It's Lexi Lee's first goal at WSU, and she puts the Cougars ahead 1-0 in the 13th minute. Delaney Hawkins earning the opportunity, getting the foul inside the box, and Lexi Lee, the first of what she hopes to be many goals as a Washington State Cougar. 2 of her 3 career goals coming in came as a collegiate freshman. Her last goal came in 2024 against number 6 Nebraska while playing at Oklahoma State. So you know she's thrilled to get back into the scoring column in her college soccer career. 1-0 WSU as we turn the page into the 14th minute. That PK for the Cougars came on the 4th foul for USF. Washington State's committed 5 fouls early. Physical start for both teams. In the middle for Washington State, McKenna Smith initially heading that ball. Controlled back down, Maya Heinsohn. Working it out wide, cross denied by Meg Duvall. Audrey Buck, 5th-year senior from Melbourne Beach, Florida, trying to get that across as we look back at the PK for Lexi Lee. Has WSU ahead tonight on its home field. Seen Reagan Brizendine, Ashlyn Sandow playing some really tough defense along this near side flank. A lot of opportunities have been trying to be sparked from here for USF. That is off the Bulls, back to the Cougars. Two teams who have never met in college soccer, bringing a lot of fire tonight after less than optimal starts to each of their seasons. USF fell 5-1 at Gonzaga earlier this week. Washington State suffered a 3-0 loss at home against Idaho. And ball one away for the Cougars by Maddie Martin. Up ahead, Delaney Hawkins. In the box once again for Washington State. Hawkins, a crosser. It's in traffic. A Cougar hits the deck. No whistle that time. Back out into the middle of the field. And a nice decision, I think, by McKenna Smith. Just turn that out of a dangerous area. Amelia Malkin was lurking for USF. Jada Alexander trying to back it out of a busy area. The mid. Oh, that caught a tough piece of Delaney Corcoran. And Lauren Matisse is going to stop things. They're going to check on Corcoran. That came up, caught her across the face. She's talking to Lauren Matisse, who you've seen in recent years for sure an increase in player safety and checking out anything something's around the head in basically any sport. There's a tendency to make sure the player is checked on. Chris Lang, athletic trainer for Washington State, out there to chat with Delaney Corcoran. The Cougars are going to pull her off, and they will bring on Mason Slater. Delaney Corcoran not happy about it. She said she was all right and ready to go. She heads to the Washington State bench area. McKenna Smith, her tall frame in the way of that pass ahead. Cougars stepping up into the ball in the midfield. Nice aggressive play to tackle it back for Regan Kelly. Delaney Telix having that one away by Maddie Martin. Delaney Hawkins, that's a handball there right at the midfield line. Popped up on Hawkins. Washington State, a 13th minute penalty kick tally for Lexi Lee for the early 1-0 lead. On a foul inside the box earned by Delaney Hawkins. Making her first college start tonight, Hawkins for Washington State. Making an impact right away. Cougars again trying to pressure in the midfield. Regan Kelly chasing it towards the Washington State bench, but it'll be a throw for the Cougars. Great news for Washington State. The sub out for Delaney Corcoran, because of it being necessitated by the check for an injury, it allows her to come back in this first half. So Mason Slater relieved her for a short period of time, returns to the bench area. Slater will be able to return for the Cougars in this first half as well. So Washington State back to the same 11 who started. The Cougars making 3 changes in the starting lineup today. We've talked about Delaney Hawkins, Lydia Robertson, Lexi Lee also each getting a start after not starting in the season opener for WSU. Trying to save it along the end line and not able to was Audrey Buck. So a corner kick coming for Washington State. It's already the 3rd corner kick for the Cougars in this first half. WSU did tally 6 corner kick opportunities against Idaho to start the season. And the Cougars already getting their 3rd set piece here in the first half. But again, for Washington State, it's misfired. Over the top of the net for the Cougars. Those are frustrating ones off the corner flag for WSU. A couple that they haven't even gotten an opportunity on in front of the USF goal. USF will bring Dora Sabo in out of Mako, Hungary, freshman for the Bulls, coming in for Delaney Telix. Dora Sabo is a freshman coming into college out of Hungary's top division, broke into the senior level in Hungary at the young age of 16. Cougars, Lydia Robertson out of the midfield, chased down by Maya Heinsohn. Robertson trying to fight back in, and she shoved Heinsohn. Heinsohn's hit the deck already a couple times for South Florida. 3rd-year player for the Bulls, one of USF's 10 returners. Had an early shot against Washington State on a free kick that sailed high of the Cougar net. Here you can see no play of the ball for Robertson, shoved Heinsohn to the ground. 6th early foul against Washington State. Cougars trying to get aggressive in the midfield again, and Lexi Lee helping win that away with Delaney Corcoran. Heinsohn returns the favor for USF. A lot of tugging, hand fighting here along the sideline, and it's called against Dora Sabo, the new sub, and Laura Matisu. He's got a yellow card out. And he comes and shows it to actually Washington State's Ashlyn Sandow. The direction it looked like he had called it for Washington State, Sandow called for the tugging of Sabo, which makes a little bit more sense. So Sandow with the yellow card. And this got physical before it crossed midfield, and it continued. Sandow holding on. The argument from Dora Sabo is taking away an opportunity for her to get forward along that flank for USF. Ball's going to bounce through. Sydney Vanier able to scoop it up. Vanier made her debut September 25th last year for Washington State. Debuted when Zora Standifer was sent off with a red card last year for WSU for denying a goal-scoring opportunity. And then because of the red card, Vanier ended up starting the next game. That was her first career start. WSU bringing in both Carly Whalen and Emma Widmore. Widmore for Lydia Robertson and Whalen for Maddie Martin. Coming up on the halfway point of the first half, Washington State with the 13th minute PK for the 1-0 lead. Fought out a play off of Washington State by Reese Roop. Elise Thornton will have the throw-in. Immediately back to Washington State. Delaney Corcoran back in there, but the last to touch it. All the way through to Sydney Vanier. Just going to call everyone out to midfield. Takes a little pressure from Amelia Malkin to speed it up. A couple teams here picked preseason near the middle of their conferences. South Florida out of the American. Washington State out of the Reborn Pac-12. Both teams preseason picked fourth in their respective leagues. South Florida did get a first place vote in the American. Lexi Lee, middle for Emma Widmore. And now Carly Whalen combining with Emma Widmore. Nice pass for Delaney Corcoran, trying to feed Lexi Lee. And Corcoran hustles back into that. Widmore sends it high. Still a lot of good energy from Washington State in the opening half of this first half. Back here for South Florida. Dora Sabo with Elise Thornton. Sending it out wide up ahead for Audrey Buck. Buck with the cross deflected by Washington State and Meg Duvall, but it'll be the first corner kick for USF tonight. USF only had one corner kick opportunity against Gonzaga in Spokane. The Bulls did have 8 of their 11 shots land on frame, looking for their first shot on goal tonight. Corner kick to be taken by Maya Heinsohn. Glanced a piece of McKenna Smith. And Washington State races to clear it. Nice job by Carly Whalen to get over there. Cougars there again in front of Vanier. Meg Duvall's been doing a lot of work on the Washington State back line. Some more subs coming. Mason Slater provided that short opportunity for WSU to take a look at Delaney Corcoran after she took a ball off of her head. So Slater's technically back in for the second time in this first half, the only way that that's possible. And Callie Hoya in for Washington State as well. They take off Lexi Lee and Delaney Corcoran. Ashlyn Sandow, the throw-in, playing with a yellow card in this first half. USF in that last substitution opportunity brought in Ava Plesia, sophomore transfer from Kentucky. There are a handful of transfers on this USF roster who have former SEC roots. A lot of very highly regarded recruits. Widmore keeping it going for Washington State. Trying to burst through there for the Cougars. Callie Hoya, the new sub. She, like Lexi Lee, who scored the PK goal in the 13th minute, both were commits to Montana, followed Chris Chidovitsky when he got the job at Washington State, following a successful 8 years as the head man in Missoula. Outside, good opportunity here for USF. Audrey Buck driving forward with it. That's deflected. And pardon me, not Audrey Buck. That was Regan Kelly, but deflected by Riley Carolan. Carolan, a good job to tuck her arm in to avoid any handball in that spot inside of the Washington State box. Another first half substitute for Washington State. It'll get Meg Duvall rest the remainder of the first half. Isabella Amato in for the Cougars, freshman from Columbia. Youth national experience with the Columbia women's national side. Played in the top Colombian women's league before Washington State. Just 17 years old. From just outside of Bogota, Colombia. Delaney Hawkins almost created that opportunity for Washington State. Foul called. That was going to be dangerous. Emma Widmore was there to help back her up, and the Cougars would have had a counter going the other way. 8th foul on Washington State. Weaving through traffic, Elise Thornton. The Cougars there to help shut it down. Talked to Chris Chidovitsky before the match for Washington State. He was excited to get Sydney Vanier this early season look. Made 5 saves last year in her first career start against San Diego in a 1-1 draw. There's Chris Chidovitsky, first-year head coach for the Cougars. He's done a great job out west. Really built that Montana program into a perennial Big Sky contender. And another foul on Washington State, setting up a great opportunity for USF on a set piece. Didn't look like Carly Whalen had a lot of hands on Dora Sabo. Sabo's drawn a yellow card for Ashlyn Sandow. Now a foul that sets up a great set piece for Maya Heinsohn. Heinsohn, her first opportunity this earlier went high. This time trying to tee up her teammates. That glances through for the Washington State goal kick. Amelia Malkin looked like did get ahead on it. A second contact in near the Washington State 6. It was also touched by Reese Roop. Washington State bringing in Kate Spangler. And Sophia Cabral in, or Cabral, I should say, pardon me, for USF. Cabral preseason American watch list as well, 3rd-year Bull. Had a couple shots that landed on frame against Gonzaga earlier this week. And the Cougars with a midfield foul. Callie Holia has been a first half substitute for Washington State. Less than 15 minutes to go in the first half of play. WSU a 13th minute PK earned by Delaney Hawkins, scored by Lexi Lee for the 1-0 lead. Emma Widmore trying to spring the Cougars out on the attack. Here's Callie Hoya. Hoya out wide for Delaney Hawkins. And Hawkins ruled just offside. Got trapped there outside by Elise Thornton. Nice job by Thornton to set that. That's where Hawkins operated so well against Idaho earlier this week. Earned Washington State a lot of opportunities. Getting some crossing looks in for her Cougar teammates. player who in high school contributed on 24 goals, led her team with 15 assists at Chaparral High School in Scottsdale, Arizona. So understandable that she would make a mark there starting her college career in that kind of facilitating role for Washington State. Brooke Fabry's in for USF. And Isabella Amato helping fight that off to the end line for the goal kick. Aurelia Nieves Melchor coming in, and if you recognize the name, Nieves, her father Juan Nieves threw the first no-hitter in Milwaukee Brewers history back in 1987, current assistant pitching coach with the Detroit Tigers. McKenna Smith clearing for Washington State. USF, though, on the attack now. The Bulls able to sustain this for the last handful of minutes. Trying to find a first half equalizer. At least Thornton trying to set everybody up on the throw-in. Finally gets an option. Crossed in, headed on twice, and just past the post. Sophia Cabral in there with the opportunity for USF. And nearly equalized for the Bulls. And a good combination. Aurelia Nieves Melchor in there as well for South Florida, helping earn the opportunity, the new sub. Aya McClin in for Washington State. Subs in for Riley Carolan. Both Chris Chidovitsky and Chris Brown, the two head coaches in this one, utilizing their depth in the early season, giving a variety of different players a look. Both sides largely healthy, but each missing an important player. Yui Sutsuga for USF and Ashlyn Dvorak for Washington State, but both players who are expected back soon for both USF and WSU. Kenza Brown, daughter of head coach Chris Brown for South Florida, is into the match. WSU back center, Mason Slater, not a lot on it. Handled by Gabby Rourke. There's Kenza Brown, daughter of Chris Brown, transfer from Kennesaw State, has a twin brother Ethan who plays professional soccer, and their mom Denise, the longtime head coach at USF, before taking over at the Tampa Bay Sun FC in the USL Super League. And Chris Brown said for a long time, serving as an assistant coach with Denise Schulte Brown. I have a lot of people ask him, how do you guys do that, married couple working together so closely? He said he absolutely loved it, and actually it's one of the things that he misses most, because they both just enjoy the game of soccer so much, and obviously a very soccer-oriented family with both children playing at a high level as well. Final 10 minutes of the first half. Washington State with the 1-0 advantage. Carly Whalen. Through ball up for Reagan Brizendine. Brizendine really being challenged by Aurelia Nieves Melchor. Slight misdirection off the foot. Raina Tift, who's in here late in the half for Washington State as well. Tift tries to set up another look. Slater, a little collision in air. Wasn't ever able to make contact on that setup from Tift. And there's Tift in on a hard challenge with Elise Thornton. Raina Tift is a freshman from Seattle out of Bellevue High School. A speedster for the Cougars. Finished 6th in the state of Washington in the state championship meet in the 100 meter. Kenza Brown caught a piece of her cleat, but controlled by Washington State. Reagan Brizendine crossing for the Cougars, but off target. Brizendine, a huge goal scorer as a Montana Prep player, and was 3-time All-State. In her first couple years at Montana, 5 goals, 5 assists. She's out of Kalispell. Certainly one of the big pieces that Chris Chidovitsky brought with him from Missoula to Pullman. Slater trying to get up ahead for it. Ellie Pitts able to head it away. Pitts, who had the foul inside the box that led to the Washington State penalty kick back in the 13th minute. Only goal this first half. Delaney Hawkins drew it. Lexi Lee scored it from the penalty spot. Carly Whalen able to get in the passing lane, earn Washington State a look. And just off target up ahead for Callie Hoya. Kate Spengler wanted to get that quickly to Reagan Brizendine, but the window closed on her. And a challenge along the side that may be last touched by Jada Alexander, and it is. So Washington State a little closer. The edge of the 18 for the throw-in. Big final 6 minutes of this first half coming up. Headed on by Smith. Tiff trying to get in on the action. McClin, who threw it in, was trying to control it. The Cougars going to play it all the way back to Vanier, their goalkeeper. McKenna Smith, a nice job heading that throw-in from Aya McClin into a dangerous area. Washington State, 4 shots. USF, 4 shots. The Cougars in this first half have the only 2 shots on goal. With some pace out to the midfield to Ava Plezia. Isabella Amato stepping in for the tackle. Washington State staff wanted a foul called as Amato took a 2-hand shove. Washington State earns the ball there, and then Kenza Brown with a frustration foul on Carly Whalen. It's funny talking about that Schulte Brown family growing up. You think about it, for Kenza, her parents, since she was 2 years old, a part of this USF program, and they always tried to encourage their kids, Kenza and Ethan, to try other sports. Ethan didn't. Kenza did a little bit, but finally said, I don't know why we're doing this. She said, I'm a soccer player. And certainly an all-soccer family. Chris Brown, head coach of USF, did say, though, when they get away on vacations, they're a bit of an adrenaline junkie family. They like to get away from the game of soccer and focus on whatever high-octane activities they have going on their vacations. Elise Thornton around a defender. Played forward by Brooke Fabry. And the offside flag up. Behind the Cougar backline was Doris Sabo. Less than 5 minutes to go now in the first half. Fabry trying to set up that opportunity. 3rd year at USF, has been on the U.S. soccer radar going all the way back to her youth career. It's been a part of a couple identification camps in the U.S. system at the U15, U17 levels. Still Lexi Lee's goal from the 13th minute, standing as the only tally tonight in the first meeting between USF and Washington State. Good speed here for Ava Plezia, and Aya McClin, what a tackle comes into that for Washington State. And then McClin is fouled. Card given to Sophia Cabral.
A yellow card on South Florida, number 13, Sophia Cabral.
Aya McClin gingerly back up for the Cougars. Phenomenal athlete out of Long Beach, California. I love the growth in high school sports. You see it in both Florida and California. Flag football, Aya McClin, an elite defensive back, once had 7 interceptions in one flag football game. Play some pretty elite defense on the soccer field for Washington State as well. Growing crowd, move-in weekend at Washington State University. And Butch, the Washington State mascot, on hand at the lower soccer field as well tonight. Beautiful night for soccer. Temperature in the mid-70s. Couple rain squalls earlier today. Couple lightning strikes early in the afternoon across eastern Washington, but it has turned into a beautiful night for soccer with some sun peeking through. Jada Alexander pressured by Reagan Brizendine. It'll go to Alexander in USF. Alexander, just a freshman from Royal Palm Beach, Florida. In 57 high school matches, tallied 55 goals and 19 assists. That's 129 points and nearly a goal a match as a prep player. It'll be exciting to see what she brings to the field in her USF career. Aya McClin, another nice play on the ball in the midfield. All the way back through to Gabby Rourke. Final 2 minutes of the first half. There's Alexander up ahead. And ball called back to that spot in the midfield. Washington State called for a foul, Mason Slater. USF was given advantage, but with a turn of possession, the Bulls will be able to retain it. Fabry bringing it across for Ellie Pitts. Pitts up ahead, McClin down to the deck, fouled. A couple hard knocks that she has taken. Samarilia Nieves Melchor in there again for South Florida, along with Danby and Juan Nieves. Her mom played professional volleyball in Puerto Rico. Sister Alondra at Georgia State University, another sister Natalia, Broadway dancer, very tremendously talented family. Closing seconds of the first half, Aya McClin going to have some more time at the break to dust off after getting taken to the turf a couple times in the first half. Washington State has a 1-0 lead after the opening 45 minutes of play. And along with this growing crowd, the new head coach of Washington State football. He's right behind one of his fellow staffers there, Kirby Moore. He's in the house to take on the festivities tonight. Washington State, a 13th minute penalty kick goal from Lexi Lee, has the lead at the break over USF. And the Cougars will go into the half up 1-0. You're watching women's college soccer here on YouTube. Washington State with a 1-0 lead over USF after the first half of play. College soccer tonight on YouTube, brought to you by Gesa Credit Union from the lower soccer field in Pullman, Washington. I'm Trevor Williams, glad to be with you here at the break as we take a look at the first half action that set the tone in this one. And we mentioned off the top, both teams not happy with the way their season started, and so they brought some fire to the start of this match tonight. A lot of fouling back and forth in the early minutes and some frustration between two teams who wanted to light a fire in game number 2 of their seasons. Washington State eventually, Delaney Hawkins able to earn the PK on that foul by Ellie Pitts in the 13th minute. You see the continued back and forth, a yellow card in there in the first half for Ashlyn Sandow and Washington State as well. But as we mentioned, the PK opportunity that Washington State earned in the 13th minute, that was the difference maker in the first half. Ellie Pitts with the foul. It went under video review. It was confirmed to be a foul that led to a PK. So the Cougars able to send Lexi Lee to the spot to get the goal. There's just a lot of physical, tough back and forth action from both teams in the first half. In the 13th minute, this is Lexi Lee's first career goal at Washington State, the 4th of her college career. And that's how the Cougars have the 1-0 lead after the opening 45 minutes. WSU has both shots on goal in the first half. One save in that first half for Gabby Rourke. Better half than she faced in Spokane, giving up 4 goals earlier this week to Gonzaga in the first half, but still she wishes they didn't have to face that penalty kick opportunity for WSU. Cougars have more fouls than USF in what was a foul-heavy first half. 10 fouls for WSU. 1 yellow card for USF went to their head coach, Chris Brown, in the first half. And we mentioned the others in that first half as well. Sophia Cabral and Ashlyn Sandow for each side in that first half of play. While the teams are in the locker room, some up-and-comers playing at the half here in Pullman. 1-0, the Cougars lead USF. The youngsters will keep everybody entertained when we come back. Well, as we mentioned, Kirby Moore, the new head football coach at Washington State, out here taking in some Cougars soccer on this move-in Pullman. And he's got the family out at the soccer match. It's really cool to see. And this season, the Pac-12 launched the Dawn, taking fans inside each team's preparation for football season. We're going to take a look at this episode now. Yogi Roth sitting down with that man, Washington State head coach Kirby Moore, to discuss expectations for 2026 and where the Cougars fit in the new Pac-12. Take a look at this clip from that episode.
Where you think the Cougs fit in within the pack?
Well, I think it reflects in terms of fresh, bold, innovative, and that's what this conference is going to be. We're going to always be evolving and trying to make this conference better, make us better from a Washington State Pullman perspective, and we're just really excited about the competition, right? There's a ton of teams who've gone to a number of bowl games in this conference, so there's going to be a lot of one-score games, and I think it's going to be an exciting brand of football for fans to watch.
Curious the meaning behind this.
We're going to swing for the fences. We don't care what anybody says.
My spring breaks, we're literally going to Cougar spring practice.
We stand watch over all past, present, and future Aztec Warriors.
Sweat equity so matters in the Central Valley.
I noticed it wasn't in my office the other day when I'm meeting with the recruits.
I see a mountain in the distance and I go, can I get to the top?
Hey, this is the new Pac-12, and we have a chance to really rebrand this whole thing.
There's a lot of things that we have to find a way to do better. And now how?
I love new, I love different, I love transformation. What did that journey teach you?
It is my honor to introduce to you the 36th head football coach of the Washington State Cougars, head coach Kirby Moore.
This is Everett. You had just turned 13 years old when it made its debut on College game day. 320 consecutive weekends this flag has flown. I know you've seen it from afar. You grew up obviously in Prosser nearby. Kind of curious the meaning behind this flag now that you're the head coach of Washington State.
I think pride, tradition, just doing it for more than yourself, and just the amount of Cougar alums in the fan base since I got the job there in December. It's been incredible, just their consistent support. Obviously, I went to Missouri there for the 3 years, and every college game day, right, I'd turn it on, find the Cougar flag, and I was always following the Cougs.
There's got to be a certain pride from your lens, even when you're at Missouri or at Fresno, other stops along your path when you see the flag kind of flying every Saturday morning, I imagine.
100%. I grew up, right, a little over 2 hours from Pullman, so my dad was a high school football coach. My spring breaks were literally going to Cougar spring practice, and with Mike Price and Bill Doba and seeing the success and the Rose Bowls, and naturally that was a huge part of my childhood.
Well, we've mentioned what a busy day it's been on the Washington State campus. So these Washington State football players have been a variety of them out here at the soccer field. They were also over at volleyball. Washington State's volleyball team had an exhibition tonight against Idaho. So it's nice to see Kirby Moore's guys all over campus making the rounds, checking in on their fellow student athletes. Chris Chidovitsky's Washington State Cougars have a 1-0 lead after the first half of play. Lexi Lee with the 13th minute PK for WSU. And that is the only tally so far. Lee for the Cougars, her first career goal, part of 116 goals in her prep career at a Frisco high school. Mentioned it's her 4th college goal. A former top drawer soccer 4-star recruit coming out of high school, Frisco High School in Frisco, Texas. The USF late in the first half, able to get the ball forward some more. But looking for a shot on goal. 5 shots so far for the Bulls, but none that have landed on frame tonight. USF opening up with possession in the second half. Another nice play in the midfield by Maddie Martin. I thought by all accounts in her minutes in the first half played really well for Washington State. 21 first half minutes for her. And the foul on Reagan Brizendine. Cut down Jada Alexander. Brizendine so far tonight, couple fouls. Washington State shots from Lexi Lee, of course, the PK. Also Lydia Robertson, Mason Slater, Emma Widmore. Shots for USF in the first half came from Amelia Malkin, Regan Kelly, Maya Heinsohn, Sophia Cabral, and Dora Sabo. Heinsohn looking to help get her side set up here. A cross headed down by Audrey Buck. Now the look potentially coming from Delaney Telix, who set up that last look. Telix to her left foot, deflected, and Vanier makes the catch. First shot on goal for South Florida tonight comes from Delaney Telix. A left-footed strike. Telix back in the American Conference after starting her career at Memphis, then going to the SEC in Florida. Memphis preseason pick to win the American this year. Reminder, it was an aggressive first half for both sides. 16 combined fouls. Up ahead, nice ball through. Vanier down on the ground, has it pop, makes the save in tight quarters with Amelia Malkin. First touch was Reese Roop. Roop trying to put a header on now, and it's wide. Sydney Vanier coming out and making a save in tight quarters at the top of the 18. Roop knocking that first ball out from Vanier, who's able to get her right leg to it right on the edge of the box. Amelia Malkin with that second opportunity. Malkin, who was the goal scorer at Gonzaga earlier this week on a misplayed ball by the Bulldogs back by their own goal. And nearly took advantage of a bobble there from Washington State. Audrey Buck and Isabella Amato. And all that comes from it is last touch by Buck for the goal kick. Buck with the tackle and trying to ask Laura Matisu, the referee, to call it off the foot of Isabella Amato. Early sub for Washington State to start the second half. The Cougars are bringing Aya McClin back for Riley Carolan. Lexi Lee trying to work it up ahead, and an offside flag up on Reagan Brizendine. It was a good look up ahead from Lexi Lee. Ashlyn Sandow playing with the yellow card from the first half of play. Able to make that last tackle for Washington State. Amelia Malkin trying to get on the end of another one. And this is saved by Sydney Vanier. Takes one away from Maya Heinsohn. A screamer near the crossbar. And Sydney Vanier able to get up for it. Maya Heinsohn, her best shot of the night. Sydney Vanier scrambling to save it for Washington State, leaping and popping it over the top of the goal. Taking the corner kick for USF, Maya Heinsohn, who just rocketed off that shot at Sydney Vanier, who's made a couple high-class saves here to start the second half. USF with some good adjustments, though, to start the second half of play, getting some opportunities on Washington State. And a left-footed strike from Heinsohn goes wide. Sydney Vanier saved that first shot off a deflection earlier in the half, then had the save out at the top of the 18, followed by this really impressive look. Will deflect it atop the crossbar. Keep USF off the scoreboard tonight. Vanier thrusted into starting action because of the injury to Ashlyn Dvorak. Preseason Pac-12 impact list. Ashlyn Dvorak expected to be one of the top goalkeepers in the Pac-12, but cracked a rib in training ahead of the match tonight. Washington State says it is minor. They do expect her back very soon. Delaney Tellick serving one in. Sydney Vanier taking control. Racing out in front of Amelia Malkin to make the catch. Outstanding first 6 minutes to the second half for Vanier, who's challenged by Malkin, kicking that away from her own box. A nice job by Amelia Malkin to lurk in that area and was able to make that a little dicier than Washington State would have liked. A little combination helping take that away, Elise Thornton. Teams looking to settle some good possession here in the midfield. Reagan Brizendine stepped in there, Washington State. Thought it was a clean play of the ball. Too much body though, Lauren Tisu says. Regan Kelly was fouled. There's that initial contact with the ball. A lot of the play through the body for Reagan Brizendine. Sydney Vanier will be there for that. USF trying to spring Delaney Tellick free. Sydney Vanier's handled things very well in front of the Washington State goal. Especially considering she's had to make her first 3 saves of the season, all in the first 8 minutes of the second half. Delaney Hawkins had it one away. Nice job by Ellie Pitts. And then a whistle in the midfield on Washington State. See McKenna Smith involved in that play into the back of Amelia Malkin. McKenna Smith, who started her career at Purdue, also went to Miami of Ohio before Montana. And like 9 of her other Montana teammates, followed Chris Chidovitsky to Washington State, along with 5 recruits who were incoming to the Montana program. So 15 on the Washington State roster were either Montana players or committed to play for Montana before the coaching switch. Montana, as I mentioned, perennial power in the Big Sky. Chris Chidovitsky got him to their first NCAA tournament under his watch and faced Washington State on this field. He said back in that day, what he was trying to do at Montana was build a program that was inspired by what Washington State was doing out here on the Palouse. The Cougars back around that time were not far removed from heading to the College Cup. They would do it a couple years later. And that was the kind of success that Chris Chidovitsky wanted to see built in Missoula. He built the fan base up from a couple hundred in his first game as head coach up to last year's Big Sky championship clinching match. Over 2,500 fans in Missoula to take that in, and certainly something very important to him is the fan support rallying around the Washington State soccer program like he was able to get fans to support at Montana. Said he wants people for a long time to talk about how they remember when they were kids coming to Cougar soccer games. So the same way that people talk about remembering coming with their families to Washington State football games. That's the goal. Delaney Corcoran able to deflect that back off of Elise Thornton. Win possession back for Washington State. Cool part of this opening weekend for WSU as well. They've brought back soccer alumni who've been in and around the program and able to take in this match tonight against USF. We saw some of the local youth soccer players in the community playing on the field at the halftime, so you can start to see all those opportunities for involvement being extended by Chris Chidovitsky, not only to alumni of the program, but to the local community. And it'll be fun to watch what kind of support he can build behind his program at Washington State. A program that already had some established strength in the fan base. Reagan Brizendine took a collision with Jada Alexander. McKenna Smith staying with it to Reagan Brizendine, who then gets twisted up along the sideline, but Brizendine's called for the foul. We'll see what Chris Chidovitsky thinks about it. Chris Brown on the other side for USF picked up a yellow card in the first half, arguing after the video review on the PK. Both coaches have been frustrated at times tonight. Vanier going to see that one go high on another look from Amelia Malkin. Good start to the second half for Amelia Malkin. Scored her first career college goal on Wednesday against Gonzaga. Malkin was originally on the SMU spring roster this past spring, but ended up transferring to USF after playing at Florida to start her college career. Tough battle. Lexi Lee and Maya Heinsohn, and Heinsohn knocked out for her spot by Lee. Washington State racking up the fouls. Cougars are up to 14 fouls. I think there was a certain fire lit under this Washington State team, and this time it goes against USF. You know who's been in the middle of this for USF is Maya Heinsohn, not backing down from a battle. Heinsohn in the Canadian U20 program, selected for international matches in Germany with the Canadian U20 team out of Ottawa, Ontario. Lydia Robertson, I think, down there for Washington State. Washington State making a sub here. They've got Emma Widmore coming in. Talk about some international players on the USF side. How about USF Bulls who have experience with national team ties from all over the world? Combination of different players who've all played their country's national team programs. We got Ana Quintero, Maria Nieves Melchor, Riley Francesca, Kylie Sandalek, Maya Hinson. Washington State looking for its first good opportunity of the second half. And then with a shot there for the Cougars. Racing to it, Delaney Telix. Telix in a foot race with Ashlyn Sandow. Telix, some contact into the USF bench. Clock stoppage has been signaled. Right away, Sandow trying to help Telix back up. Lauren Matisu resets things, talks to players on both sides. It continues to be physical here at the start of the second half. Reese Root up forward ahead for Amelia Malkin, and Aya McLean, who checked in briefly into the start of the second half, makes the tackle, and she's feeling that one a little bit. But she's already been in on 3 really brilliant tackles for Washington State on the defensive side of things. One of the returning leaders for the Cougars. It does result in a corner kick to be taken by Maya Heinsohn. South Florida bringing in McKenna Batilla. Batilla going to set up there at the top of the 6. Riley Carolan coming in for Washington State as well. Third corner kick for USF tonight. Headed high. Again, the Bulls getting some traffic there in front from Amelia Malkin. Malkin much more of an impact so far to start the second half for USF. It's required her first 45 minutes of play. Headed down in the midfield by McKenna Batilla, who just checked in. And Batilla, great through ball from Malkin. Batilla takes contact inside the box, and a penalty kick coming for USF. A great run of play for the Bulls. Started by McKenna Batilla, winning it in the midfield to Amelia Malkin, who got it right back to her, threading a perfect through ball. And the foul leading to a PK opportunity for USF to find an equalizer in this 62nd minute. And pretty clearly, Batilla had Carly Whalen beat and got pulled down. So here comes the penalty kick opportunity from Maya Heinsohn. 1 career goal for the junior, who's a third-year player at USF. Maya Heinsohn looking to knot this game at 1. Heinsohn, who's been in the middle of the action all night long for USF. Sets it up and scores for the Bulls. Maya Heinsohn knotting this game at 1 in the 62nd minute. Both teams with a PK goal created on great opportunities. Washington State in the first half, South Florida here in the second half, and game on, tied at 1. You had a feeling the way Maya Heinsohn was able to get right in the middle of all this action tonight that she'd be a consequential player for South Florida, and certainly provides a big moment there. We'll thank Amelia Malkin and McKenna Batilla for setting that up. Batilla, who had subbed in just moments ago. Washington State, a trio of subs, Kate Spangler, Meg Duvall, and Raina Tift all in for Washington State. And now Laura Matisu is going over to this near side. He had signaled for a VAR review. Maya Heinsohn just scored the PK here in the 62nd minute for USF to tie this game at 1 goal apiece. And Laura Matisu is overlooking and I guess what the review is going on right now is Washington State has asked for a video challenge on that the penalty against the Cougars occurred outside of the box. And so if that was the case, it would set it up as a free kick just outside of the box. Still be a great opportunity for USF, but it would wipe the goal off the board. So here's what they're looking at back in that run of play. Did Waylon pull before it was into the box, pull to the arm of McKenna Batilla? Batilla certainly falls inside of the 18, but Washington State asking for a ruling on where the actual foul occurred. I don't know if the Cougars are going to get what they want out of this one. Laura Matisu already out after the review. And as I just said, it stood for the foul being inside the box and the PK for Maya Heinsohn in the 62nd minute. So all tied at 1. Both teams have scored off a PK from a foul inside the box. A sub coming for Washington State, Callie Holia back in for the Cougars. Holia taking the spot of Lexi Lee.
South Florida substitutions, number 2, Kenza Brown.
Marilia Nieves Melchor back in for South Florida as well, along with Kenza Brown.
In for the Cougs, number 8, Callie Holia.
Headed by Audrey Buck. Regan Kelly trying to help build some possession with USF. Here comes Amelia Malkin on a run. McKenna Smith well positioned. They'll take that away defensively for Washington State. Cougars up middle to Callie Holia. And a good job, Ellie Pitts there to cover it. Pitts had the foul in the box in the first half of Delaney Hawkins. Hawkins now side to side with the teammate, gets a soft shot off. That's a one-hopper at Gabby Rourke. Maya Heinsohn, 62nd minute, goal to tie this at 1. First meeting all time between Washington State and USF. USF a long way from home, obviously, but some products on the team from this area. Talked about some players from out of British Columbia, including Kylie Sandalak, who played against Gonzaga in relief at goalkeeper. Also got Neilani Solomon, freshman from Portland, Oregon, who is yet to see time tonight. This is a tough play back for Ellie Pitts, but able to get it out of a dangerous spot. Jada Alexander to the midfield and off of a Washington State Cougar. Alexander moved from Canada to London. Hometown listed as Royal Palm Beach, Florida. Alexander, a former #1 Canadian recruit in the 2024 class. You can see has been playing with a spark as a freshman for USF, certainly tonight. Raina Tiff trying to show off some of that speed we talked about in the first half. 100-meter track star in high school. Did keep Washington State with the throw-in. And Tiff not going to be quite fast enough to get to that before the goal kick for USF. Just over 25 minutes for either USF or Washington State to find a go-ahead goal in the second half of play now. After the Bulls have been able to equalize, Cougars called for a foul. It's on Delaney Corcoran. Corcoran and Elise Thornton a little frustrated with one another. Laura Matisu asking Corcoran to back up. Elise Thornton to take the free kick. Delaney Corcoran, nice play up the sideline to Meg Duvall. Washington State was looking for one more pass ahead, trying to get it to Callie Hoya. And Hoya called for a soft touch. Enough to elicit a foul. It's foul number 17 for Washington State. Cougars have had 17, South Florida 7. Emma Widmore turning things to Carly Whalen. Whalen up ahead, trying to time it with Delaney Hawkins. Elise Thornton put her arm up. She was looking for an offsides flag, never came. And Delaney Hawkins trying to stand her ground right there with the ball passed under her legs by Ellie Pitts, but Hawkins was called for the foul. South Florida has had a little better possession here in the second half. The Bulls looking to create another opportunity. Kenza Brown there on top of the ball. One away by Emma Widmore. Widmore up ahead for Delaney Hawkins. Hawkins is onside. Hawkins is 1v1. Hawkins on Rourke. And Hawkins scores her first college goal. The freshman from Scottsdale, Arizona puts Washington State ahead in the 67th minute. Her first college start tonight, and now her first college goal. And Delaney Hawkins answers for Washington State to put the Cougars ahead in the 67th minute, 2-1. I mentioned showing up at the field tonight. Chris Chidovitsky said he was so excited for this opportunity for Delaney Hawkins. And she pulled Gabby Rourke out as close as Rourke could come there in that 1v1 opportunity, and Hawkins able to just sneak it inside the far post. So Washington State able to answer back. They have now brought Mason Slater into the game. The Cougars answer back just about 5 minutes after the USF equalizer. 2-1 the Washington State lead. Washington State trying to time another ball, this time Mason Slater. Slater has an offside flag up. But these have been brewing over the last few minutes for Washington State. A couple of these home run opportunities for the Cougars starting to connect. Cougars looking for another goal to try to put a little separation in this one. Audrey Buck heading it forward. Riley Caroline's back in for Washington State. Carly Whalen trying to race there with Kenza Brown. Jada Alexander in the midfield. It's been signaled towards Washington State. Foul on Alexander. Alexander shoved down Raina Tifts. Delaney Hawkins right over to the Washington State bench after her 67th minute goal has put the Cougars ahead 2-1. Hawkins has been in on both goal scoring opportunities for Washington State. She drew the foul in the box in the 13th minute to set up Lexi Lee's PK. McKenna Smith to set up this set piece for the Cougars off the foul. Headed on by Riley Carolan. Delaney Corcoran with one bounce and scooped by Gabby Rourke. Both Carolan and Corcoran getting a header on that from McKenna Smith. It took Washington State 5 minutes to answer the USF equalizer. We'll see what the Bulls can do now here, approaching the final 20 minutes of play tonight. Smith out wide, nice hustle by Washington State to save it there. Cougars wanted a foul with Smith stepping up into that ball. Instead, it's Whalen in the midfield with the takeaway. Counter for WSU. Whalen trying to get back to her left. Nice job by Ellie Pitts once again defensively. And again, the Cougars have Kate Spangler take a hit there in the midfield. Lorma Tisu's blown his whistle, and he's asking for the Washington State bench to settle down. Chris Chidovitsky talking to his Cougars in the bench area now. Been a lot of chirping coming from both sides. And Lorma Tisu, after that discussion, now will allow the subs in. Reagan Brizendine in for Washington State for Delaney Corcoran. And Anna Quintero in for South Florida for McKenna Batilla. First action for Quintero, junior from Panama City, transfer from UTEP. 9 goals in 2 years with UTEP. Arrived to U.S. College Soccer with 5 appearances on the Panama senior national team. So we'll see how Quintero can impact the final 20 minutes of play tonight. Following another South Florida foul. Just a moment ago, McKenna Smith was right here for a free kick. She'll be there again. Riley Carolan had the first header along with Delaney Corcoran the last time. Corcoran's now on the bench for WSU. We'll see who Smith targets here. Again, it's Carolan. And that grazed a USF player for a corner kick. Washington State with its 4th corner kick of the night.
And that's another Cougar corner kick.
See who the Cougars send over that way. Appears it's Carly Whalen. Whalen, 3 assists in her 2 years at Montana. An in-state kid for Washington State from Issaquah, Liberty High School. Season-ending injury last year, all conference in the Big Sky 2 seasons ago. Whalen sends it in short. It's undercut, but for another corner kick. Reagan Brizendine the target. So Carly Whalen will take it again here for Washington State. 3 assists her freshman year. Whalen now junior, looking for her 4th career. The top of the box, Callie Holia in tight quarters. Now McKenna Smith, ball pinballing around, cleared out by USF. Kate Spangler serves it back in. And that's rocketed home by Meg Duvall. One deflection off WSU. Meg Duvall slots it home in the 72nd. And the Cougars a 2-goal lead. First career goal for Meg Duvall. Redshirt junior from West Lynn, Oregon. And one of Washington State's 8 returners comes through in the 72nd minute to give the Cougars a 2-goal advantage. A red shirt last year for Washington State, last competitive season, the fall of 2024. And Meg Duvall, what a big moment here on the Cougars' home opening week. Knocked down by Callie Hoya first in the box, and Duvall sprung to it with a left-footed strike to give Washington State the 3-1 lead. And it appears South Florida has called for a challenge on video review. And it seemed like the Bulls were maybe asking for a handball on Callie Hoya. Don't see anything offside. And the other question, a foul. So South Florida is actually, what they're looking for here is a foul on Hoya. Hoya underneath the defending player Regan Kelly there in that spot. So Hoya ends up underneath Regan Kelly, and then you see the leg come up for Hoya. Chris Brown waiting on bated breath, and he may have something here. Saw right away Gabby Rourke, goalkeeper for South Florida, was not happy with it. And Laura Matisu has kept with the call on the field. Call stands, goal Washington State in the 72nd minute for Meg Duvall. Certainly close there with Callie Hoya down underneath Regan Kelly. So 3-1 Washington State now in front with less than 20 minutes to go. I think the thing that saves Hoya there is while she's on the ground, she's not doing anything that I can see there that's intentional to try to impede Regan Kelly. Right, that's what Alora Matisu has to say about that video review as well. So USF has used a couple of those video review opportunities that are available this year in women's college soccer. Jada Alexander breaks down Raina Tiff for a moment. Washington State with one VAR review called for. Ball bounced up for a moment on Ana Quintero. And now the throw-in going back to WSU. 2-goal lead for the Cougars. Meg Duvall with the score in the 72nd minute. 5 minutes after the goal from teammate Delaney Hawkins. For each the first goals of their college careers. And in the last 15 minutes, we've seen goals every 5 minutes. USF to tie the match at 1. Washington State to take the lead back at 2-1, and now to have a 2-goal advantage. McKenna Smith for the free kick for WSU. Foul total now 18 for Washington State, 10 for South Florida. Trying to race to it, Reese Roop. Roop in a collision there with Carly Whalen. Whalen really hustling on that ball. Roop trying to play this through, and Caroline there for it to take it away from Ava Plezia. Plezia is a big goal-scoring threat. It's a forward transfer from Kentucky, but in her high school days scored 138 goals. That shot deflected by Caroline. It was an opportunity for Ana Quintero. Elise Thornton chipping that ball forward. Meg Duvall able to serve it back into the midfield. And Kate Spangler up ahead. Mason Slater Racing after it for Washington State before it's cleared by Gabby Rourke. Kenneth Smith up ahead for Mason Slater. Cougs with another strong play in the midfield. Marked improvement for Washington State here, game 2 of the season after a deflating start to the year in a shutout loss 3-0 to Idaho. And I've got to imagine Chris Chidovitsky has been happy with the response from his team in their second game of the season. Maddie Martin comes on for Washington State. WSU also bringing back Isabella Amato. USF will have 4 subs waiting over across the way to come in. Meg Duvall is off for Washington State now after scoring her first college goal just a couple minutes ago for the Cougs to give them a 2-goal advantage. Mason Slater trying to step up into it for Washington State. Raina Tiff trying to keep it alive. Washington State wants a foul on Ellie Pitts. No whistle came. Now it comes. South Florida frustrated. They thought that was far too delayed. But Tiff taking the contact from Ellie Pitts. Tiff right away asking for the call. Felt it on the follow-through contact. Chris Brown obviously not happy. It was pretty delayed, to be fair. Emma Widmore there with Callie Holya. Widmore ends up being the one to strike it. Headed by Washington State and in! Maddie Martin there, so's McKenna Smith, and I think Smith had the last head on it for the Cougars. Now a 3-goal lead for Washington State, this time in the 77th minute for Washington State. And the last 15 minutes for Washington State game action has totally turned this game on its head. A 4-1 Washington State advantage. McKenna Smith with her second career first in crimson and gray. And the Montana transfer coming through, able to combine with Emma Widmore and Maddie Martin for the score. Widmore, her third career assist, Maddie Martin, her first. And McKenna Smith has given Washington State a 3-goal advantage with less than 15 minutes to play. What a 15-minute burst from WSU, and you see Meg Duvall back on for the Cougars now. Really woke the Cougs up in the 62nd minute. The foul leading to the penalty kick goal for Maya Heinsohn for USF. And the Cougars since then, a furious rally of 3 unanswered goals to take a big lead late in this one. And very well done by Washington State. See that first header from Maddie Martin, and then McKenna Smith finishing it off for the Cougars. Now Washington State under 13 minutes away from being able to claim its first win of the season. Tough trip out west right now for South Florida. Has been outscored 9-2 in 2 matches against Pac-12 schools Gonzaga and Washington State. USF in just over a week's time is going to face arch nemesis UCF back down in Florida for a home match, their first of the season. And this is not good on the contact over along the far sideline. Yellow card shown at Amelia Malkin. And Isabella Amato slow to get up, but now is up for Washington State. Amelia Malkin with the card. Around the start of the 79th minute. Hopefully everybody gets up out of that okay. Washington State this coming week going to head on the road to the Dakotas. First South Dakota for South Dakota State, and then up to North Dakota to take on North Dakota State. Third yellow card for USF tonight. Nice job by Riley Caroline in the midfield. Jada Alexander able to wait it off for the throw-in. WSU in this game, 4 different goal scorers for the Cougars. Emma Widmore, the assist, the second of the night for her just a moment ago. So now has 4 career assists, came in with 2 in her first 2 college seasons. Delaney Corcoran back in for Raina Tift. Ten shots for Washington State, 4 goals. The Cougars with 10 shots, 6 on frame. Another one fired off the crossbar. A near miss for WSU and Callie Holia in the 80th minute. Nearly turning into a runaway for the Cougs. McKenna Smith up ahead. This plays through into the box to Gabby Rourke. This game in just over 15 minutes of game action has gone from a 1-1 tied score to a 4-1 Washington State runaway freight train. And the Cougars called back on the throw-in for Meg Duvall. It's the opportunity for Callie Holia right over the outstretched hand of Gabby Rourke. Just missed the Cougars' 5th goal of the night. Subs, Maya Heinsohn coming off. And in for South Florida is Sophia Thomas. For Washington State, Lexi Lee back in for Callie Holia. Just had that opportunity off the crossbar a moment ago. Ainsley Owasic's also in for South Florida, sophomore out of Langley, BC, Canada. Talking about some of those connections to the nearby area. British Columbia, that area just outside of Vancouver, a little over 6-hour drive away from Pullman. There's Owasic out of the midfield for USF. Delaney Telix through a couple Cougar defenders before the run's cut off by Emma Widmore. Delaney Hawkins back in for Washington State, in on the first 2 Cougar goals tonight, drawing a penalty kick in the first half and then scoring her first college goal. Ava Reitmeyer in for South Florida as we're under 10 minutes to go now tonight. Washington State trying to put a bow on a first win in the Cougar career of Chris Chitavitsky, the new head coach for WSU. Chitavitsky, who spent 6 years in Division III, ahead of 8 years at Montana. Getting an opportunity to start a new era in Washington State athletics with WSU in the Pac-12. Delaney Hawkins trying to race to this ball up the sideline. Forces it back in middle. Delaney Corcoran almost there to get to it. Nice job by Elise Thornton to dance through that traffic. Kenneth Smith there defensively for a ball played forward by Reese Roop. Riley Carolyn knocking that down off of Audrey Buck for the goal kick. South Florida the shot advantage at 14-11. But the Cougars a couple more shots on goal. Some really high quality opportunities in a match that has had 30 combined fouls between these two teams and now 31. So McKenna Smith pulls down Sophia Cabral. Reese Roop comes from a family of Texas A&M Aggies. Mom was an All-American soccer player there. Dad was an All-American baseball player and actually pitched professionally in the majors for the Tampa Bay Rays and the Boston Red Sox. Roop transferred from Texas A&M to USF. She has the free kick there off McKenna Smith, bounding towards the corner flag. And a great hustle by Isabella Amato for Washington State to keep it away from a corner kick. Hold USF to the throw-in. Foul looks like it's located right outside the box on Washington State. Just outside the edge of the box with under 7 minutes to play. Crossing off the free kick. Sophia Thomas taking that opportunity. Delaney Corcoran. Fouled by Ellie Pitts. McKenna Smith taking another free kick here for the Cougars. Second team all-conference at Montana last year. Scored her first Washington State goal in the second half. And the call up ahead, a foul on USF. Washington State going to set up a little closer now. And it'll be Reagan Brizendine headed over with Emma Widmore to take the opportunity for the Cougars. Approaching 5 minutes to play tonight in Pullman. Washington State, a second half flurry, breaking a 1-1 tie, now leading by 3. Audrey Buck looking to try to play it through for Sophia Cabral. Cabral trying to get back to her right, does beat one defender, and then coming back in, Meg Duvall to make the tackle. Corner kick coming for USF. Really well played there up to Cabral. But Duvall, nice race back into the play, playing the ball nicely. Corner kick to be taken by Reese Roop. Headed by Sophia Thomas. And stomached by Sydney Vanier. Vanier's had a very nice second half. Her 5th save. Under some pressure there, chased by Amelia Malkin. That's the second time Malkin's been able to get in close to Vanier. The only goal allowed by Vanier tonight on a penalty kick. Hardly her fault. She has made 5 really nice saves outside of those opportunities. 4 minutes to play now tonight. Cleared away by Delaney Corcoran up towards the midfield stripe with Delaney Hawkins able to win it off of Ellie Pitts. Riley Carolyn will be subbed off for Washington State. Aya McLean returning for WSU. Quite the side spin on that ball. Keeping it along the sideline. Throw in coming for Aya McLean. Lexi Lee started the Cougars scoring with a PK in the early minutes tonight. Plays that off a USF defender. It'll stay with Wazoo. Hawkins, Meg Duvall, McKenna Smith. Emma Widmore has stand out with 2 assists in this one. Amelia Malkin still giving a lot of good effort here in the late minutes. 3 minutes left to play. Lexi Lee back over to Meg Duvall. And a foul against Washington State. It all feels a bit like semantics now. Washington State closing in on a first victory for Chris Chidovitsky as the head coach of the Cougars. It's been a great team effort by the Cougars and a nice response after a rough opening night of the season and a 3-0 loss to their rivals from 9 miles away, Idaho. Delaney Hawkins on another take. Takes a tackle in the box from Ellie Pitts. A lot of guts there from Pitts. Washington State's fans wanted another opportunity at a PK. Could have been the second of the night for Hawkins, who will go take the corner kick. Earned the Cougars their first goal on a foul back in the 13th minute. Also has scored her first college goal tonight. Isabella Amato all the way up high, chipping it back. McKenna Smith with it headed high. Lexi Lee controls it off the volley. Lee, oh, nice combo back to Brizendine trying to cross the face of the net. Goes wide for Reagan Brizendine, but a nice idea from Lexi Lee.
1 minute remaining.
Neilani Solomon, who we talked about earlier, native of Portland, Oregon, freshman from Grant High School in Portland, one of the closest players to home on the roster, is in for the final minute of play. Washington State, after facing an equalizer in the 62nd minute from USF, scored in 5-minute increments, 3 unanswered goals to build this 4-1 lead, and looking to take it home for their first win of the season. All the way down for a goal kick to Gabby Rourke. Final 10 seconds now tonight.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
A roaring second half for the Washington State Cougars. 3 unanswered goals over a 15-minute stretch following an equalizer in the 62nd minute. And Chris Chidovitsky has his first victory as the head coach at Washington State. Gets goals tonight from Lexi Lee, Delaney Hawkins, Meg Duvall, and McKenna Smith. Couple assists from Emma Widmore. And Washington State with a 4-1 win over USF. The Cougars win it in a runaway on this Saturday night. They do it in front of some of their soccer program's alumni and a nice home crowd that included A bunch of new Cougs moving on to the Palouse this weekend, getting ready to start their college careers. So fitting that we saw some firsts in crimson and gray for this Washington State team. The Cougars get a 4-1 victory over USF tonight. For our entire crew, this is Trevor Williams saying so long from the lower soccer field in Pullman. Cougars pick up their first win of the season. Do it with some flair and some dramatics in the second half.